Good afternoon, I'm Leila Massimo and you're watching A News. Now the major stories making headlines today. India launched strike on Pakistan in Operation Sindoor while Islamabad vows response. Tensions flared as US President Donald Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Carney met for the first time in Washington. Conclave to elect a new pope begins in the Vatican today. Voting will continue until a new pope is elected via two-thirds majority. Indian drone and air strikes have reportedly hit multiple locations across Pakistan and Pakistani-administrated Kashmir. Islamabad claims that 6 Pakistani sites were targeted, though none were said to be militant camps. The strikes have caused civilian casualties and significant damage to infrastructure.
According to Pakistan's military spokesperson, Indian missile strikes and artillery fire have killed at least 31 people. 26 in the missile strikes and 5 more along the line of control from artillery fire. Scenes of devastation unfolded in the eastern Pakistani city of Muridka overnight, following reported Indian drone strikes. Residents of Muzaffarabad, the capital of Pakistan-administered Kashmir, described the impact of a strike that destroyed a mosque shortly after midnight, sending panic through the hillside residential neighborhood. Fire started to spread. We came out for a while, then there was another explosion and the whole house shook. Then we all got scared. Then we evacuated the house, taking the children with us. Pakistan has condemned the strikes, describing them as a violation of its sovereignty. Officials claimed that Indian missiles hit multiple locations and asserted that 5 Indian aircraft were shot down, though this has not been independently verified.
So we are giving our armed forces, the ground forces, the air force are giving all the necessary responses to defend the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the Pakistan. And so far, I can confirm you that 5 Indian aircrafts, including 3 Rafale, 1 Su-30 and 1 MiG-29 have been shot down, and 1 Heron drone has also been shot down. The information that I have so far with me now, this is near Bhatinda in India, in Akhnur, and there are other locations also. As the information keeps on coming, I'll keep on updating.
Meanwhile, Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, speaking at a news briefing in New Delhi, said India took what it described as preemptive action following an attack on 22nd April. Indian police and medics reported that at least 7 civilians were killed and 30 others wounded in retaliatory Pakistani firing and shelling at multiple points along the line of control, the de facto border that divides the disputed Kashmir region between the two countries. The confrontation has also affected civilian air traffic, with flights to and from India rerouted to avoid Pakistani airspace, as shown by real-time tracking data. Several airports in both countries were temporarily closed as a precaution. This escalation is one of the most serious since the 2003 ceasefire agreement, which was reaffirmed in 2021. While limited skirmishes have occurred over the years, targeted strikes deep into Pakistani territory, especially outside the contested Kashmir region, remain rare.
As fears of wider conflict grow, global leaders are urging both nuclear-armed nations to show restraint and return to dialogue.
The operation, named Sindoor by India, sparked a sharp reaction from Islamabad and said it is now responding to what it called unprovoked aggression. The international response was swift, with world leaders expressing growing alarm over the escalating tensions. US President Donald Trump called the situation a shame, noting that the long-standing rivalry between India and Pakistan has once again reached a dangerous point. They've been fighting for many, many decades, he said, adding, "I hope it ends very quickly." Echoing the president's remarks, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said he is monitoring the situation closely and reaffirmed Washington's commitment to engaging both sides in search of a peaceful resolution. The United Nations also voiced deep concern. The spokesperson for Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, Stefan Dujarric, described the Indian military operations as deeply troubling. He urged both countries to exercise maximum military restraint, warning that the world cannot afford a military confrontation between India and Pakistan. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi strongly condemned the initial terrorist attack in Kashmir and expressed concern that this situation may lead to further retaliatory exchanges and escalate into a full-scale military conflict. He urged both countries to stabilize the situation through dialogue. The United Arab Emirates also called for de-escalation. Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed said, "We must avoid further escalation that could threaten regional and international peace," emphasizing the need for diplomacy as the only path forward.
And more on the ongoing confrontation between India and Pakistan, we're joined by Sharat Mhmed, research scholar at Western Caspian University from Baku, Azerbaijan. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
We're now facing a fog of war in many parts of the world, and now it is clear that we'll see much more disinformation from both India and Pakistan. In your expert's opinion, when shall we expect verified information from the both sides? And what comes first, destruction in the media field or destruction of the enemy?
All right, okay, so in every war, what happens is that there's always propaganda, which is part of the war, whether you take it old-time wars or new-time wars, but the propaganda is there. But in the time of the social media and AI, the propaganda will prevail. But the thing is that any country which is doing something in times of war would obviously show it to the world that what is happening in their territory. In case of Pakistan and India's conflict, which started last day, India actually attacked Pakistan in the middle of the night. It was a midnight, and attacked a few cities of Pakistan with their missiles and all that. That was witnessed by Pakistan, and that was shown on the media. And the Pakistani government is actually, and the military has totally has said it to the international media that they would show these destructions, whatever they've destroyed in terms of the planes. They shot down 5 or 6 planes, 1 drone. They will show it to the international media. That's how it works internationally. So whoever is doing whatever in the war should be shown to the international media, or the international media should be taken in confidence.
And are we on the verge of a full-scale nuclear war between India and Pakistan?
Well, we must understand one thing, that both of the countries are nuclear power, and escalation in the war would not serve a purpose for both of the countries. I don't think so that both of the countries are insane enough that they would go nuclear and everything, but attacking Pakistan by Indian forces last night was a very irresponsible attitude from India's side, without letting us know that what are their intentions and all that. If there was this problem on 22nd and everything, we condemned that as well in Kashmir. Whatever happened, whatever civilians died in Kashmir, we as a government, as Pakistani government, condemned that, and we even conveyed them a message that if they want any kind of an international arbitration or international investigation to take place, we are there to be there for their help and all that. But instead of doing that, they attacked the Pakistani territory, and any territory which will be invaded, has obviously the implications, and Pakistan would retaliate in many folds. And that's what happened. Pakistan shot down 5 or 6, the numbers are different, but 5 for sure, 5 airplanes in different parts of the country, and obviously one drone. And they have invaded Pakistan with the missiles in different parts of country as Bhavalpur and some in Kashmir. So this was I don't know, looks like a very irresponsible attitude from India's side, because they know that Pakistan military is capable of retaliating many folds. Pakistan might be a small country, but the Pakistan military after 9/11 went into a war on terror for like 20 years, and it knows that how to take care of this sovereignty and its integrity, and it was the only military in the region which fought the war against terrorism. We have been in this terrorism game. We have been we lost 70 or 80,000 people in this war on terror, and one of the biggest massacres which took place in Pakistan was back in 2015 or 16 APS attack. It was a school attack where hundreds of kids were massacred. And, so we have been witnessing terrorism for almost 20 years, and we are the very front line to address the terrorism and all that. We not only take care of our borders, but we take care of, we are quite, we have the narrative to take care of the regional stability as well at the same time. So we understand what terrorism is, but if there is anything which happened in the territory of India, we condemn that and we understand that. But without investigation, without any proof on India's side, India has attacked Pakistan, which is a very irresponsible attitude. The world is condemning that as well, and for the world stability, it is not really good. It would if this thing ignites, it would go beyond the borders.
Thank you, Mr. Han, for your insightful answers.
Thank you.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia launched 4 ballistic missiles and 142 drones at his country overnight. Falling debris from destroyed drones sparked fires across several neighborhoods. Ukraine's emergency services say 2 people, mother and her son, were killed and 8 others, including 4 children, were injured. The drone attack came just hours after a missile barrage targeted the city, intensifying the pressure on Ukraine's capital. Russia also targeted Zaporizhia, injuring 4 people, damaging 11 residential buildings. Meanwhile, Russia reported intercepting swarms of drones approaching Moscow, adding to the growing cycle of cross-border strikes. The Kremlin confirmed that Russian forces will observe a ceasefire in Ukraine from May 8 to 10, as ordered by President Vladimir Putin to mark the 80th anniversary of World War II victory. The truce coincides with Victory Day celebrations in Moscow, where world leaders, including China's Xi Jinping, are expected. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Russia will uphold the ceasefire, but will respond immediately if Ukrainian forces attack. Meantime, President Zelensky has rejected the 3-day pause, insisting on a minimum 30-day ceasefire, something Putin said would require more work. In a rare moment of cooperation, Russia and Ukraine have carried out a 1-for-1 prisoner exchange. Each side repatriated 205 servicemen in a deal mediated by the United Arab Emirates. Russia's defense ministry says its soldiers released from Ukrainian-controlled territory are currently in Belarus. Officials say they are receiving medical and psychological support and will be soon transferred to military hospitals inside Russia for further treatment and rehabilitation. This marks one of the largest known exchanges between the two countries in recent months. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has inspected a munitions factory producing shells and machinery, according to state media. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un tours a munitions factory, praising its boost in production, now 4 times higher than average. Local media reports that the plant plays a key role in strengthening the country's military power. This, as the South Korea's spy agency reports, Pyongyang has sent weapons and thousands of troops to support Russia and Ukraine, tightening the alliance between the two nations. Canada's new Prime Minister Mark Carney met with US President Donald Trump at the White House on Tuesday, hoping to ease tensions between the two countries. President Trump has regularly questioned whether Canada should continue to exist as a sovereign country and has imposed heavy tariffs on Canadian goods. Our correspondent in Washington, D.C., Obi Shambadar, has more on how the meeting went.
Right before his first meeting with Canada's new Prime Minister, President Donald Trump questioned on social media once again why the United States should, in his view, continue to subsidize Canada to the tune of $200 billion a year. Nonetheless, the meeting between Prime Minister Carney and President Trump at the White House on Tuesday seemed to be warm and friendly. President Trump has consistently said that he believes that Canada should become the 51st American state, and that the United States does not need Canada's exports while providing America's northern neighbor military protection. President Trump remained adamant that the border with Canada was an artificial one, and that Canadians would be better off joining the United States, in his view.
I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway, because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage, because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
The Canadian Prime Minister told President Trump, quote, "Canada is not for sale," to which Trump responded, "Never say never."
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security.
For the most part, the leaders of the neighboring countries kept the meeting cordial and friendly. Trump reiterated that he was not planning on lifting sanctions on Canadian steel and aluminum and cars anytime soon. The U.S. is Canada's largest trading partner and is a major importer of Canadian steel and oil, as well as natural gas. Prime Minister Carney, fresh off an election victory against his conservative rival, was keen to strike a balance of respectful defiance, though he was fully cognizant that much of Canada's economy will be riding on his ability to eventually negotiate a deal with President Trump. Amubi Shabander in Washington, D.C., A News.
The U.S. says it will not accept an unfair trade deal with the United States as the tensions rise over long-standing tariffs. The bloc is facing steep tariffs on steel, aluminum and cars, a holdover from the Trump administration. A 90-day pause on the new U.S. tariffs runs out on July 8, and the U.S. is using that window to prepare countermeasures. Those could include rebalancing tariffs on a wide range of American goods. While Brussels still prefers a negotiated outcome, progress has been limited and all options remain on the table.
But if our talks with the US do not yield the necessary result, we will be ready for alternative, with the aim of restoring a level playing field. Therefore, we are also using the 90-day pause to continue our preparation for further rebalancing measures to counter the multitude of additional US tariffs on EU exports and ensure a level playing field in the longer term. And here I would like to underline that all options remain on the table.
Germany has a new chancellor. Olaf Scholz officially handed over power to Friedrich Merz in a short ceremony at the chancellery in Berlin.
In a formal but emotional handover at the Berlin Chancellery, Olaf Scholz passed the baton to newly elected Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The ceremony came just hours after Merz secured enough votes in the second round of parliamentary voting to officially take office.
I am very aware of the responsibility that this office entails. I accept this responsibility with humility, but also with determination and confidence, ladies and gentlemen.
Merz had failed to win a majority in the initial round earlier that day, a first in post-war Germany, despite his coalition with the Social Democrats holding 328 seats. He received only 310 votes, 6 short. But a second round turned the tide. Merz gained 325 votes, enough to calm political nerves and ease market jitters. Germany's DAX index trimmed losses and recovered slightly by mid-afternoon.
You can get straight down to business, just as the citizens of our country expect, just as these turbulent times demand. I wish you and your entire team every success, much strength and all the best. And thank you all very much.
Later that evening, Merz held his first cabinet meeting with his new ministers. From diplomacy to the economy, expectations are high as Friedrich Merz begins his term as Germany's 10th post-war chancellor.
The failure of Conservative leader Friedrich Merz to secure parliamentary endorsement in the first round marks a post-war first in Germany. His inability to win outright suggests dissent within his own coalition ranks. The coalition is visibly fragile, with latent tensions simmering beneath the surface. And joining us live with more insight on the matter of the current German political situation, Michael Hack, political analyst from Berlin. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So Merz, having proven barely electable, now faces a deeper question. Can he govern at all?
I think so. I'm quite optimistic that after this first struggle, it could be really a disciplinary measure, so that there's more discipline now in this coalition, in this cooperation between the Social Democrats and the Conservatives. I mean, one has to imagine that this country is governed by really the two opposition parties or opposing parties, the Democrats in the US governing together with the Republicans, unthinkable in other parts of the world, here a reality. So there will be some tensions, and that was showcased here with the first vote here in the Bundestag for Friedrich Merz. You saw that there were some unsatisfied members of parliament who were not happy, maybe sometimes even out of personal reasons, because they didn't get the position they wanted. And that added up to these short votes. You saw it in the second one. There wasn't a stable majority for Friedrich Merz. So I do think, and I'm hopeful, that this government remains intact and will be successful in the next years.
And some observers cite his abrasive and erratic style as a harbinger and future dysfunction. Can we say that it reflects reality?
I think he is, Friedrich Merz is a political figure which, he's 69 years old, he's quite senior, he's long in politics, he broke with the whole tradition of Angela Merkel. So when she came into power, he went out of power. And so it's really a change what is going on there. And I do think that he has some homework to do with the Conservative Party. You see that the Conservatives struggled with the policy led by Angela Merkel. It was not conservative enough for them. It was actually, in fact, many times really center-left policy what Angela Merkel represented, which put then the Social Democrats into a very strange position in being more center than the center-right party. So I think there will be some change there. I think the majority right now is relieved in Germany that we didn't face now a complete catastrophe with this election of our new chancellor. And you see it already here in the daily press in Germany, that the daily business going on. Friedrich Merz is currently, right now, he's having dinner with Macron. He's traveling then afterwards to Warsaw, to Poland. So you see it's back to business, and people want to maybe go past this first debacle of this chancellery.
Thank you for your insightful answers, Mr. Hack.
Thank you very much.
The Sistine Chapel in the Vatican is once again at the heart of Catholic tradition, as 133 cardinals gather to elect the next pope.
The 133 cardinal electors will begin the process of choosing the new pope when the conclave begins in the Sistine Chapel on Wednesday in the Vatican City, as they will cast their first vote. On the morning of May 7, a special Mass pro Eligendo Romano Pontifex takes place in St. Petersburg Basilica, invoking the Holy Spirit's guidance for the cardinals in choosing the next Catholic Church leader. Later, the electors will pray the Litany of the Saints in the Pauline Chapel before processing into the Sistine Chapel to formally begin the conclave. Visitors and the faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square as the Vatican City marked the first day of the conclave to elect a new pope.
We wait with much excitement for this event and hope that it happens as soon as possible, so we have a new pope, and we hope for peace and that he continues on Pope Francis's path.
You know, I think the world has become a very divided place. There's a lot of suffering and war and division in countries, amongst countries. I hope we have someone that can come and heal it and bring people together and really spread more a message of love and unity than hate and divisiveness around the world that's happening.
Inside the chapel, the cardinals will take a solemn oath to maintain secrecy, to avoid any external influence, and to accept the office of the papacy if elected faithfully. The traditional extra omnes command will be given, ordering all non-participants to leave. Cardinal Raniero Cantalamessa, preacher emeritus of the papal household, will give a final spiritual reflection before departing with the Master of Liturgical Ceremonies. Voting will start with one ballot that evening, followed by up to 4 daily, 2 in the morning, and 2 in the afternoon, until a new pope secures a 2/3 majority. Ballots are burned after each vote, and the world will watch the Sistine Chapel's chimney for the signal, black smoke for no decision, white smoke to announce the election of a new pope.
And we return again to the main news. Indian drone and air strikes have reportedly hit multiple locations across Pakistan and Pakistan-administrated Kashmir. Islamabad claims that 6 Pakistani sites were targeted, though none were said to be militant camps. The strikes have caused civilian casualties and significant damage to infrastructure. Tensions between the two nuclear-armed neighbors are at an intercepted high. Athira Mustafa reports from Islamabad.
In the early hours of Wednesday, India carried out 3 missile strikes. According to Islamabad, the strikes targeted civilian areas, including mosque compounds in Pakistan-administered Kashmir and areas in its Punjab province near the Indian border. In response, Pakistani forces claim to have retaliated with full force through an ongoing military operation as both sides trade fire along the line of control, the de facto border dividing the region of Kashmir. The growing hostilities have prompted authorities in Pakistan to place hospitals and security forces on high alert. India, on the other hand, maintains that its actions were non-escalatory and specifically aimed at hitting terrorist hideouts within Pakistani territory, a claim strongly denied by Pakistan's army. Islamabad insists that no terrorist infrastructure exists on its soil and that India deliberately targeted civilian areas, a charge New Delhi has denied. In response to the escalating conflict, Pakistan has convened a high-level national security meeting involving top military officials and federal ministers to assess preparedness and determine the next course of action. Regional and international experts warn that continued confrontation between the two nuclear-armed neighbors could spiral into a broader conflict unless global powers, including the United States, China and Russia, intervene to help de-escalate tensions. While India and Pakistan have fought 3 wars in the past, experts argue the current situation is the closest they have come to the brink of a wider conflict in recent years. Hira Mustafa, A News, Islamabad.
And now to the regional news. In Athens, Armenian Defense Minister Sharat Mhmed met with his Greek counterpart Nikos Devonvias to discuss deepening military cooperation. The talks focused on expanding ties in defense education, joint training and experience sharing across key military areas. Both sides expressed satisfaction with the current level of cooperation and pledged to strengthen it further. As part of his working visit to Greece, Papikian attended the opening of the International Defense Exhibition, the FIA 2025. He also visited Armenia's National Pavilion and met with the defense industry representatives. Kazakhstan and Vietnam have elevated their ties, with Kazakhstan now officially recognized as Vietnam's first strategic partner in Central Asia. The move was marked by a high-level visit to Astana. Our reporter Fariza Kalimurzina has more.
Kazakhstan has officially become Vietnam's first strategic partner in Central Asia, marked by a state visit from To Lam, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev welcomed Lam with an official ceremony at Akorda, where the two leaders discussed strengthening bilateral cooperation. Following the talks, a joint statement was issued affirming their commitment to closer ties. 8 agreements were signed across sectors, including technology, digital transformation, culture, sports and justice. A key deal focused on joint geological exploration and hydrocarbon development. Trade was a major topic, with 2024 volumes reaching $860 million. Both nations aim to increase this to $2 billion by 2030, with expected growth in oil and gas, energy, agriculture, tourism and high-tech industries. Vietnamese firm Savico Group announced it plans to acquire or operate a Kazakh airport following its recent purchase of Kazakh Air. For Vietnam, Kazakhstan serves as a gateway to Central Asia. For Kazakhstan, Vietnam offers direct access to Southeast Asia and the Pacific. Analysts say Lam's visit signals Vietnam's expanding regional influence. His recent trips have included China, the US, and Malaysia. From Almaty, Kazakhstan, Fariza Kalimurzina, A News.
Afghanistan has announced a major push to boost its domestic electricity production, with hundreds of megawatts of new energy projects set to transform the country's power supply. Tamim Bahis has more from Kabul.
The Economic Affairs Office of the Prime Minister has unveiled a new wave of energy infrastructure projects. The developments, spread across multiple provinces, aim to generate a total of 261 megawatts of electricity, with an estimated investment of $340 million. At the same time, the Afghanistan Breshna Shirkat, the national electricity company, is preparing to open public tenders for a new wave of electricity projects. These will cover electricity production, transmission and distribution in up to 80 districts across the country. The company says the aim is to extend electricity access to underserved areas and is encouraging both national and international investors to take part in the effort. The private sector is expected to play a key role in supporting these developments. Afghanistan currently needs between 2,500 and 3,000 megawatts of electricity. However, only about a quarter of that is generated domestically. The remaining 75% is imported from neighboring countries such as Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Iran. With over 900 megawatts of new projects under design in recent years, these announcements signal a stronger push to reducing dependence on foreign electricity and improving energy access nationwide. This is Tamim Bahis in Kabul for A News.
Tourism leaders from across the D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation have wrapped up a high-level gathering in Cairo, marking a major step forward in strengthening collaboration across member nations.
Tourism leaders from across the D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation convened in Cairo on Tuesday for the 4th Ministerial Meeting on Tourism. Hosted by Egypt, the high-profile gathering concluded with the official presentation and adoption of the Cairo Declaration. The D8 organization, which includes 9 countries, Azerbaijan, Bangladesh, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan and Turkey, continues to position itself as a dynamic force in the global tourism sector, emphasizing economic and cultural integration. Delegates in Cairo reaffirmed the shared vision of tourism as a cultural engine for socio-economic growth. Building on the outcomes of the 2023 summit held in Durban, Pakistan, the ministers focused on enhancing tourism infrastructure, supporting small and medium enterprises, and forging stronger public-private partnerships. One of the key highlights of the newly adopted Cairo Declaration is its emphasis on artificial intelligence. Recognizing AI as a transformative tool for tourism and heritage preservation, the document calls on member states to responsibly incorporate AI technologies into national strategies, share expertise, and maintain robust governance standards. The declaration also proposes joint cultural initiatives, the production of tourism-focused documentaries, and the creation of a digital platform to promote traditional crafts and locally made products. These steps aim to amplify the visibility and appeal of D8 destinations globally. To enhance cross-border travel, member countries agreed on the importance of facilitating visa procedures while respecting national regulations. And in a celebratory move, Turkey's coastal gem Antalya was named the first-ever D8 Tourism City of the Year for 2025, recognizing its excellence in hospitality and sustainable tourism practices. Looking ahead, the Cairo Declaration commits D8 members to annual ministerial and expert-level meetings to track progress and shape future strategies. In a key follow-up move, Iran will host the first D8 Tourism Investment and Promotion Forum in 2026, as mandated by the declaration.
Thanks for spending a moment with A News. Until we meet again.